Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So guys, on and on it goes, because in Nigeria it goes on and on it goes. So guys, I bring you this. DSS team leader apologized to Justice Ojukwu over court invasion. So that's the headline, and the commentator is Femi Falana. So again, the headline: DSS team leader apologized to Justice Ojukwu over court invasion, and it is a headline attributed to Femi Falana. So now let's see what the senior advocate is saying this time around. Human rights lawyer Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, on Sunday refuted the Department of State Services claim that its operatives did not disrupt proceedings at the Federal High Court Abuja in their bid to rearrest his client, Mr. Omoyele Sowore, on Friday. Falana said in a statement that, contrary to the DSS's denial issued on Saturday, the leader of the DSS team of operatives who invaded the court tendered an apology for their conduct when summoned after the incident by the presiding judge, Justice Ijoma Ojukwu. He said the DSS operatives were unable to defend their conduct, hence their subsequent apology to the judge, who was forced to adjourn cases on a list following the invasion. He described the Saturday statement issued by the agency's spokesperson as a self-contradictory press release and an unsuccessful attempt to absolve itself of responsibility for the armed invasion of the Federal High Court Abuja Judicial Division in general and the desecration of Court Number 7 of Honorable Justice Ijoma Ojukwu in particular, as well as the illegal rearrest of Omoyele Sowore. He stated, by advantage of information technology, the whole world has placed responsibility for the gangsteristic desecration of the court on the DSS. The DSS cannot extricate itself from the abominable act of December the 6th, 2019. When I informed the court that fresh charges were being filed against our clients and that they could be rearrested, the prosecution denied any such plan. As soon as the case was adjourned, the DSS pounced on Sowore and caused a disruption in the proceedings of that court. Having taken over the court, Justice Ojukwu hurriedly rose and asked the registrar to adjourn all other cases. After the learned trial judge had risen for the day, she summoned the heads of the prosecution and defense team to her chambers. When the lead prosecutor, Dr. Liman Hassan, SAN, denied knowledge of the invasion of her court, she directed him to invite the head of the DSS team in the court. When challenged to justify the invasion of the court, the officer could not. He apologized to Justice Ojukwu on behalf of the DSS. The judge then directed the officer to withdraw the DSS operatives from the courtroom. The directive was complied with as the operatives withdrew from the courtroom but rushed out to join their colleagues who had taken over the entire courthouse. He noted that the agent's operatives' abominable desecration of the court was covered live by domestic and international media and journalists, some of whom he said were victims of acts of gangsterism, barbarism, and brutalization. He called for the immediate release of Sowore and other political detainees, as well as all criminal suspects that had been granted bail. So this is now Femi Falana directly contradicting what the DSS and especially Buhari's agent Loretta Onyoche are saying, that this was actually something that did not happen and it's just all fake. So contrary to what this woman is now claiming, Femi Falana, who was at the very heart of this incident, has narrated now that the judge, Justice Ojukwu, indeed invited all parties involved in this incident to her chambers to come and give account of what exactly transpired in her court. So she invited the lead lawyer of the DSS, this Mr. Hassan, SAN. So he'd invited him, and he could not really account for this because, of course, he was not even kept in the loop, because he, being a man of law, would have cautioned against this sort of approach, this sort of gangsterism and barbarism has been described by Femi Falana. If they had informed their lawyer, then he would have cautioned against this sort of approach. He would have cautioned that, one, the court has released this guy, so just let him be. But if you are not going to let him be, certainly do not come and invade a court of law with guns and thuggery and act as though you were some militia from Mali or Chad or something, so from some backward country. So this sort of act is not really becoming or befitting of a country like Nigeria, and not especially a premier court that is sitting at the heart of the country, which is the Federal Capital Territory, a federal high court with a leading judge, and you just turn up with guns because you want to arrest a man that is just standing alone unarmed. So what need is there for that level of force first is the first question that you need to ask, because all you need to do is send one officer and tell him that, Mr. Sowore, we are arresting you again. Sowore would not resist. Sowore would not throw punches. He will make a lot of noise because we know he's a noisemaker, but he will not do more than that. And this is the thing that you see repeat and repeat. We saw it with the Nnamdi Kanu incident as well. When they wanted to arrest this guy, rather than just send a team of police, no more than 2 cars, and certainly no more than 7 officers, to say, look, we don't want you to act out of tune. We are arresting you. Come with us, because the IPOB, of course, is not an arms carrying organization. They carry placards and they make a lot of noise. Similarly to Sowore, all he does is to make a lot of noise. So you cannot then, by virtue of trying to combat noise making, go all armed guard, AK-47 and bazooka and everything, with helicopters flying everywhere and armored tanks surrounding a courtroom, because you want to rearrest one man who is asking for good governance in the country, and that is his crime. Insulting the president is treasonable felony in Nigeria now, as we now know. So now this now attempts to now re-describe what we all saw visually, and this is something that they do a lot within the Nigerian space, and I think it's really Malam Buhari that set the tempo for that. A lot of you will recall that incident with Abdullahi Ganduje, Dola Ganduje, the governor of Kano State, who we all saw collecting dollars and pocketing it, and Malam Buhari had the effrontery and the audacity to go on national TV and tell us that it is Photoshop. So you can now see how that narrative is now morphing and metamorphing into this sort of now description as a template for trying to rebrand what you see visually as it being not the case. We saw these people invade this space. We saw Sowore wrestled to the ground. We saw a lot of aggression in the courtroom, and this Onoche woman is now telling us that in fact that did not at all happen. This is just a figment of your imagination. It is our eyes playing tricks on us, apparently, allegedly, and according to Onoche. But Femi Falana would have it the way it is, which is the way we all saw it. Conversations in the comment section, this ludicrous nonsense now, the level of insult that they are assaulting our intelligence within the Nigerian space is an act in itself, is almost art, you know. This should be Picasso. The level of effrontery that these people have should be hung in the Tate Gallery or in the museum in Lagos or something, in Onikon, because it is almost like an artwork. The level of effrontery and crass vulgarity and ludicrousness that these people have capacity for. It is almost that an invention within the human psyche, the way these people go about it. Come tell me thoughts about all this in the comment section, but before you come share thoughts, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me now how what you saw with your own eyes in those videos that you have all seen is now no longer the case, because Loretta Onoche has now told you that what you saw is not what you saw. So come tell me what you are making of all this ludicrous nonsense in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Carry on with you in the comment section, but here I say peace.